Welcome back to the Night Shift, your safe space for talking about UFOs, UAPs, NHI disclosure, and this whole drone fiasco that's unfolding in the skies above. The longer I look at this thing, the more it feels like a hall of mirrors, and I'm lost, confused, disoriented. I don't know what to make of it. It's like looking at a Magic Eye poster, but instead of a schooner, the harder you look at it, the more you just fall into the abyss. And I don't know. The crack squad here at the Night Shift News Desk has been working around the clock to try and solve this mystery and understand what exactly it is that's going on in the skies above New Jersey. But you may recall last week, we got a little spooked. We put the show on yellow alert. Stand that down. Cancel the yellow alert. Lower the shields. Because I was working on a totally different video for today. And then you guys started blowing me up about this Forgotten Languages website thing. And I decided to take a look at it. And then I took a look at it. And I took a look at it and I realized this is a spicy meatball. This is the video for this week. And I got to tell you, if this is what it all turns out to be, then we are, as a community, going to feel like a bunch of dingleberries. And that's a word I don't just throw around willy-nilly. But dingleberry, I think, is... Keep it in your mind. By the time we get to the end of this thing, you're going to be like, duh. Okay. So what are we talking about here? Important data point before we go to the Forgotten Languages thing. Just yesterday, the mayor of Belleville, New Jersey, Michael Melham, said on, is that right? Melham? I think I'm getting that right. I want to get his name right. Michael Melham said that state police in New Jersey had issued an alert for missing radioactive material that turned up missing from a shipping container in I think he said in a port in Newark. And it was supposed to be there. The container was damaged, and they found that the radioactive material was missing. So that is Belleville, New Jersey Mayor Michael Melham on Fox 5. There you go. Saying that. Here's the clip.
We're aware of a threat that came in through Port Newark. Maybe that's radioactive material. There was and there is an alert that's out right now that radioactive material in New Jersey has gone missing on December 2nd. It was a shipment. It arrived at its destination. The container was damaged and it was empty. So potentially we're looking for that.
Stop right there, Mayor, because that's very important.
Stop right there. That's very important. That is very important. And I want to say, before we go any deeper into this, what we're about to do is go deep diving into the Forgotten Languages website. If you are not familiar with this website, here's what you need to know. It is a super cryptic website filled with references to esoteric wisdom and knowledge and religious imagery. And it's just weird. It's very weird. It's written in this kind of constructed, coded language that apparently is only understood by cryptologists and people who can effectively translate it with ChatGPT. I am aware that people have done this with ChatGPT. They've been able to kind of decode this website. I have not been able to replicate those results. So if any of you night shifters out there can do this, I would love to know what the rest of this message says. Now, we don't have time to go into the full background on Forgotten Languages, but just understand that it's a mysterious website. It's really weird. There is a lot of information about UFOs, or references, I should say, to UFOs and UAPs on this website. But because we don't know much about it and the people who are behind it, it's tough to know if any of this information is real, if it's made up, if it's a LARP, if it's some kind of intelligence agency honeypot thing. I don't know. I'm assuming because it's on the internet and portions of it are in plain English that that's fine and people are going to read it. So we're going to take a look at it, but it's weird. And you're just going to feel, I don't know, weird when you finish. Just one of those things. I don't know how else to say it, guys. Sorry, I wish there was a better way to put this. So New Jersey Mayor Michael Melham says that radioactive material is missing. That's an important data point. Keep that in mind. Now, the Forgotten Languages website, this is what it looks like. This is today's page. This is December 18th, 2024. And the post is the UAP Paradise, the militarization in domestic policing. And As you can see, it starts with a quote that's in English. It says, "You have the difficult task of making policy around a subject where very little is certain." And then it's like 2 paragraphs of gobbledygook, coded language. And then it will say, "Since the incident with balloons flying over American airspace, there has been a heightened concern in government regarding aerial sovereignty and security, partially driving the interest in UFOs. This increased awareness has contributed to the perception of UFOs as a potential threat. Consequently, one possible solution is to increase military spending to enhance capabilities and better protect against potential UFO-related risks. Increasing military spending can ensure readiness and preparedness in the face of UAPs." And then it's another paragraph of gobbledygook. So the whole website reads like this. And more or less, you're going to see like blocks of text that just don't make any sense. And then there'll be a block of text that makes some sense. But this is not why we're here today. Why we're here today is this other post from December 13th. And this is the one that everybody's been trying to get eyeballs on. So I'm taking a look at it here on the night shift. The title of the post is "New Jersey Kinetic Strike Test, Threat Analysis of SUAV-Driven Attacks." And I have to tell you, the whole drone thing is super weird, and it's hard to understand what we're looking at because we don't know how much of the information we're seeing on the internet is manipulated, how much of it is AI generated, etc. So trying to make sense of it all is impossible. At best, you can step back and look at the public-facing comments from people in government at the federal, state, and local level, and you could try to back your way into an understanding of what's going on by looking at the way they handle the messaging around this, which is what we are going to try to do after I read to you what we're about to see. When you read the Forgotten Languages post that we're about to look at from December 13th, and you take all of this together in context, it makes a lot of sense. And I know in this community, we have a reflex to want to find the alien in every scenario and every situation. But I have to tell you, after reading this, I came away with a different perspective on what might be going on. And I honestly think this may be more likely. So with that, let's dig into it and see what we're talking about. So it's called New Jersey Kinetic Strike Test, Threat Analysis of SUAV-Driven Attacks. The first 2 paragraphs are coded, and then it says, in quotations here, "Protecting U.S. forces, allies." Let's see if I can go to reader view. Here we go. "Protecting U.S. forces, allies, and partners requires that we examine our existing doctrine, training, equipment, and policy to identify any potential shortfalls to countering present and future SUAS threats." SUAS stands for Small Unmanned Aerial Systems. "This includes running drills and exercises as realistic as possible in order to assess the threat and be ready for war scenarios." Key phrase here. This includes running drills and exercises as realistic as possible in order to assess the threat and be ready for war scenarios. All right, next 2 paragraphs are constructed language, coded. Then it says kinetic operations with SUAS are expected to grow in the future. The 2019 attacks on key Saudi Arabian oil facilities demonstrated how SUAS can be used to attack and disrupt critical infrastructure. So it is reasonable that we take the necessary steps to face a similar scenario for our critical infrastructures. The New Jersey November drill focused on assessing how vulnerable water reservoir management infrastructures are to such attacks. The New Jersey November drill focused on assessing how vulnerable water reservoir management infrastructures are to such attacks. Let's go on. We will establish enduring intelligence requirements and priorities that will support the development of threat analysis informed capabilities. The Defense Intelligence Enterprise, DI, that's sinister. The Defense Intelligence Enterprise will cooperate with the larger intelligence community to provide timely and informative threat assessments for a range of stakeholders across the department. I've never heard of this, Defense Intelligence Enterprise. Are you guys familiar with this? Is this something that anyone has heard of before? Is that some kind of like corporate group that does all this so that the government could say that it's not them? I don't know. Spooky name, though. Then we go into another coded paragraph, 3 more of those. And then it says, mapping the potential target requires sending 3 drones along defined transects. Using the geolocated data from the drone's reconnaissance missions, we can launch precise artillery and rocket strikes on enemies' assets miles away. The second test involved releasing drones toward the mapped targets to test how reliable the mapping activity was. The targets were denied, a water management facility at denied, and the military installations in denied. The main goal of the drill was to assess the possibility to use SUAV-driven attacks by a hostile actor using drones to contaminate water management systems by conducting reconnaissance, preparing modified drones with harmful payloads, and executing a stealthy attack on critical water infrastructure. The potential consequences of such an action could be severe, highlighting the vulnerabilities in water security systems, which is what we wanted to explore. It's the Dick Marcinko. It's the Dick Marcinko analysis. It's the Dick Marcinko scenario. It's red cell, green team. Does anybody remember Dick Marcinko? Shark Man of the Delta, founder of SEAL Team 6, looks like a pirate. In the late 80s, early 90s, I think it was the early 90s, 91, 92, 93, Dick Marcinko is a former Navy SEAL, founder of SEAL Team 6, the legendary SEAL Team 6. And he put out a series of books where he talked about the group that he was in charge of and what their responsibilities were. And they were basically brought in to test out the security of Navy bases by pretending to be terrorists. And they would go into these bases and try to launch a attack, basically. And they wouldn't inform anybody about what they were going to do. They would just do it. And the way I remember the books, he embarrassed a bunch of Navy brass and base commanders, and it was a whole thing. And he's not, he's a controversial figure. I don't know much else about him, but that's the Dick Marcinko story. What I'm reading here on Forgotten Languages is basically spelling out a similar scenario. It sounds like what they're saying is what we're seeing right now is a coordinated drill for the purpose of testing how it would actually go down if a drone attack was launched on key infrastructure sites in the United States, which makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. If you think about it, you would want to tell as few people as possible in advance. Why? Because element of surprise. If people know that you're going to do this, then it pollutes the data, and the data you get back, it just won't be any good. What you need is a real world, real life simulation of what would happen if a bunch of confusing shit all happened at once or unfolded over a period of days. How would local people react? How would the news respond? How would people on the internet react to it? Would they have questions? What questions would they have? And most importantly, would people be able to figure out what was going on in time to do anything about it? This is just my take. Okay, so I'm not saying I know this is happening. I'm just saying, based on what I'm reading on the Forgotten Languages website, if you were to try and if you're thinking about what we're seeing in the skies above New Jersey now and over the last few days, this fits the bill. Totally. They're not ours because they're not ours. They're somebody's, but the person, whoever they belong to, they're authorized to be doing this. They're not a threat because they're not a threat. They look weird because that's probably part of it. Probably a whole huge part of this is to make them look super weird, to have them do bizarre things that don't make sense, to cause confusion, to disorient people. That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm not saying that's what this is for sure, but that certainly makes sense to me. So if you're asking me to react to Forgotten Languages, which you guys are, this is my reaction. Let's go on and read some more. Here's another photo. It says Ocean County Utilities Authority. And it looks like a Google Earth photo. Some coded language, and then it says in English down here, one thing is having a drone to release an RKG-3 anti-tank grenade on a target. Quite another is to release a denied charge on a dam. The charge contains a highly toxic chemical intended to poison the water supply infrastructure. With a low-cost drone, you can knock out the entire water supply system of a whole city. That's what we were testing on that particular night of November over Morris County. Again, no way to verify this. There is no, this is a website that is known for being weird and for posting weird stuff. So it's important to understand that when you look at this stuff, we have nothing to go on other than what just reading it as it's posted. However, it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense. How would you test this? You would just do it. You would just do it. Let's go on. This will make more sense in a minute. Let's keep reading. Some more coded language here. And then down here in English, it says, we need to create a comprehensive drone portfolio, which typically includes a range of different drone types, each with its own specific features and functions. These drones can also integrate modular payloads to further expand the potential set of missions that the portfolio can support. And we need to test our drone portfolio. When testing our capabilities to attack critical infrastructures in an urban area or to defend ourselves from such an attack, we need to perform drills. You see, there is no other way to run tests in urban areas other than simply running the tests. We don't have an entire mock-up city in a desert to test our drones. We simply use real cities no matter which city we choose. If a couple of citizens get alarmed by watching drones in the night sky, that's not our concern. Whew. That's the spicy meatball. Well, it's not the spiciest part of the meatball, but you're tasting the spice at this point. So they just run the test. And this is all part of it. Or they don't care. I can't imagine they don't care, though. This is like great data. Somebody is watching this whole reaction play out somewhere. So it sounds like they're testing drones that are specialized pieces of equipment to see if you fly them over an urban area, what can people do? What happens to them? How does it all go down? I guess maybe that's why they're impervious to our attempts to bring them down, because they're shielded from such effects in some way. I'm talking about just like more don't think like UAP alien technology. For the purposes of this exercise, let's just keep it grounded in basic, simple military strategy. What would you be trying to figure out, and how would you try to do it? If you were a foreign adversary and you wanted to launch some type of a strike, what would be a really nasty way to do it that would just overwhelm us? And drones fit the bill, man. They really do. So there's that, the aspect of defending ourselves from such an attack. But this implies that they're looking at some offensive capabilities, and that's really where their heads are at. So let's go on and read the next paragraph here. Some more coded language, and then it says, the one you are talking about was a male drone, a medium altitude, long endurance drone. The male drones are larger in size and have longer endurance capabilities. They can operate at medium altitudes for extended periods, providing persistent surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities. This is weird because it sounds like it's taken from an actual conversation between people. Like it just sounds like conversational dialogue. It reminds me of that clip in Does anybody remember the Three Amigos with Martin Short and Chevy Chase and Steve Martin? Where he's like, it's a mail plane. You know how you can tell? The one you were talking about was a mail drone, a medium altitude, long endurance drone. Mail drones are larger in size and have longer endurance capabilities. That explains the 6-hour-ish loiter time. They can operate at medium altitudes for extended periods, providing persistent surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities. So they just loiter, hang out, look weird. That's what people are seeing. More coded language. And then the cherry on top. Federal authorities have not lied. The DoD is not aware of any evidence of foreign activity. Where's the lie you mentioned? The drill was perfectly documented and disseminated to the relevant people. The drones are our drones, so here's our statement. There is no evidence of foreign activity. More coded language, and then it says the drill, it says, quote, ... The drill involving a total of 62 drones from denied services, launched from 2 ships from denied on different nights of November, focused on the wastewater management plant in Morris County. While the second target selected was NWS Earl Navy Base, which is considered a hot target as it is tasked with the mission to support all the operations conducted by the Department of Defense through the United States Navy. Most of the operations are taken by the Atlantic Fleet. That explains the guys who were like, we saw all these things coming out of the water, the Coast Guard ship that supposedly was trailed by a bunch of these things, or the Coast Guard boat. There was a, it was a question in my mind of like, why didn't the Coast Guard just shoot at these things? If you have, 30 drones following your boat and you're armed, you're out over the open water, surely you could shoot them down or try to, but I don't know. Let's go on. In recent years, and especially in the wake of Superstorm Sandy, there has been a significant effort to increase the resiliency of New Jersey's power grid, allowing it to better respond during and in the aftermath of natural and other disasters. Be it hardened infrastructure, the creation of microgrids, the islanding of essential facilities, or the installation of on-site generation, such strategies have become critically important. We also considered SUAV attacks from non-state and state actors. Scrolls down. New Jersey is home to several military bases and facilities, including Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, which serves as a critical hub for air, land, and logistics operations. It is thus a natural target in any future war, and it is a sound strategy to simulate attacks to those assets using drones in order to test our defense resilience. The classic mission profile is based on the drones approaching the New Jersey coastline using a low-altitude flight to evade radar detection, taking advantage of terrain and urban structures for cover. Once within range of their targets, the drones would execute their mission, which would involve striking critical infrastructure such as transportation hubs, power plants, or military installations. That's exactly the topology of the attack scenario under test in November. Okay. So far, this maps nicely onto what people have been seeing. There's another paragraph that's weird. I don't even know if I should read it. I don't even know if I should read it because it just feels weird. It feels. Should I read this? I'm going to leave that out. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to link to this in the show notes. Click the link, go to the page. You guys read it and tell me what you think in the comments. But from what I can see here, this is forgottenlanguages.org. This looks like some kind of weird Easter egg. It's obviously put out here for people to see. We're seeing it. It makes sense. If that's what we're looking at, we're just looking at a super secret training operation, a super secret war game exercise. It would explain the sightings over various military bases, right? Like, look at this. Let's go to, oh, and real quick, if you want to know, like, is Forgotten Languages for real? I've developed a very sophisticated test that you can apply to figure out if the information here is worth your time. It's the inverted Reddit upvote test, right? So you go to Reddit and we just type in Forgotten Languages in the Reddit search bar, and we organize them in descending order, posts over the last week. Are UFOs, 8 votes. Are UFOs, 33 votes. Are UFOs, 0 votes, 1 vote, 0 votes on UFOB, 0 votes on aliens. Operating under the assumption that there is information in here they don't want us to have. These would be super downvoted on Reddit. I just am assuming that. So that's just my inverted test. If you watch the first 5 minutes of this briefing here with Pat Ryder, you'll see a complete body language shift in him. Watch this.
What about the ones that are flying over military bases at this point? Have there been any possibilities of collecting what sort of information these drones are doing or anything like that?
Yeah, again, just to kind of put this into context, and I know that our colleagues at the White House, FAA, DHS, FBI have all made this point. So over 1 million drones registered in the United States, and on any given day, approximately 8,500 drones are in flight. And so the vast majority of these drones are going to probably be recreational or hobbyist. They're going to be commercial drones, used in things like architecture.
This is the judo flip. This is the judo flip where, like, a direct question goes to Pat Ryder and he flips it. And now we're talking about drones, but we're talking about not the question. We're talking about, there's lots of different drones, and our partners have been aware of this, and they're in the sky, and some of them are hobbyists and some of them are for architecture, and maybe you enjoy photography from a drone. All kinds of drones. The clock is running out. We're moving on to the next question. No one's getting any more information. This is very standard procedure for these types of press conferences. Let's go on.
Engineering, farming, or they could be used for law enforcement. Is it possible that some of those drones could be up to malign activity? It's entirely possible, but the vast majority, that is not, the case. And in the case of drones flying near or over U.S. military installations, that in and of itself, just given the volume of drone flights we see on a given day, is not something that's new. We take all of those seriously. We will typically, when we detect them, attempt to classify them and take appropriate measures. Is it possible that some of those are surveilling? Absolutely. But can you make that assumption in every case? Not necessarily. So in each case, commanders have the authority, installation commanders and authority.
Again, he's saying everything he's saying is correct and true. Like, all of this information is accurate information, but it's not answering the specific question. He's not really expressing a level of concern that is appropriate for what people think might actually be going on. But the level of concern that he is expressing and the way that he's handling this is very deft. Still talking about drones, just like not answering any questions.
Why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones? They're not military drones. Why is it a classified briefing on the Capitol Hill?
I'd have to refer you to Congress on that. Again, sharing as much information as we can here. I don't have the briefing in front of me, so I can't tell you specifically, what aspects are classified or not. I can assure you, though, that, again, we are sharing as much information as we can based on what we know. Let me go to the other side.
Okay, so there's Pat Ryder this whole press conference just goes like that. Now, here's Donald Trump reacting to the same news, same information, same question, rather, about the drones. Watch this.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
We
Want to know the
should
truth?
know.
They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
He doesn't seem too concerned. It's, if you think about it, like if these things are above the president's house, if they're in the skies above military bases, if they're in the skies above New Jersey, and you see everybody on TV not taking it super seriously, fuck, man, this does seem like it fits. Now, Trump is interesting because he likes to keep you guessing. He likes to he wants you to think he knows more than you do, but it's not entirely clear that he actually knows more than we do. I'm assuming that he's been briefed on this and he knows what they are. And I'm basing that read off of the body language and this new information from Forgotten Languages. So all things together, could it be aliens? It could be. It could totally be aliens. But as a community, it's important that we take that extra beat and think critically about what it is way more likely to be. And if the drone fiasco were aliens, I think we would be seeing a lot more of the 5 observables. We're not seeing that. What we're seeing does look like conventional drone activity, although super weird. That does fit the narrative of a training exercise or a war game scenario unfolding, and that's what people are actually watching. And it's all part of the same. It's all part of the same thing. The confused response, the lack of information. That's the point, is to see how people react in real time. This is it. So, congratulations, guys, you did it. I'm backing off of the aliens hypothesis for the moment, and we'll see where this goes. But so far, this is a more realistic alternative hypothesis. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Is Forgotten Languages information that we can draw anything useful from, or is it complete nonsense? What do you know about the website? What do you know about its creator, the people behind it? What do you know about where the information comes from? Can we take it seriously? Is the fiasco that we're seeing in New Jersey and elsewhere just part of a big war game scenario, or is it actually aliens and maybe I've got this all wrong? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video. And hey, if you're not already a subscriber, consider subscribing. It's a great way to support the channel, and it doesn't cost anything, and it really, really helps. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Until then, keep looking up.